أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the creator of this universe, the one who out of his infinite mercy, power and knowledge gave his two creations the ability to submit to him and to go on a path that no other creation can. So the place for human beings is a place where no other creation can reach. It is a place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had ordained for the angels to prostrate to. So if you were to imagine His creation, and in His creation the angels happen to be the closest beings to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? जो मलाइका हैं वो अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला के सबसे नज़दीक है. अगर आप उनकी बाकी की मखलूक़ात में देखें तो मलाइका अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला के सबसे नज़दीक है. ये सबसे ज़्यादा नज़दीक जो मखलूक थी अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला ने उनसे कहा कि इंसान के लिए सिजदे में गिर जाओ. So the closest beings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had at that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them to go in sajda, to prostrate in front of a human being. And that sajda was actually not prostrating to Hazrat Adam's physical, biological machine, but it was a prostration of humility of the place where Hazrat Adam was. And that was in his spirit. That was in his soul. That was in his essence. Okay? So in essence, the place of a human being, if a person can reach to it, if that person can reach to the essence of humanity, all of creation becomes submissive to that person. Okay? If you probably have heard of this, and it's nothing new, but when a person goes out of their house to gain knowledge, when a person goes out of their house to gain knowledge, according to the Prophet's tradition, the angels, they put their wings for that person. Okay? And the person walks on top of those wings. Okay?
All these kids who go to college.
Yeah. So, well, the college kids, I'm not sure, well, it's probably true for them as well. As long as the knowledge gets you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then. Okay? If the knowledge is getting you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the angels don't put their wings for the person.
Wow.
So if it is chemistry, biology, but it's getting you close to Allah, then yes. If it's houseway studies, Quran, tafsir and so forth, if it's getting you closer to Allah, yes. But if an alim even goes out of his house and that knowledge that he is gaining is not getting him closer to Allah, although it is Islamic sciences, then again the angels don't spread their wings. Okay? So the reason why they show this humility and a person walks on top of their wings is that they know that by knowledge that human being who has the potential to reach to that place where we prostrated to, he's going towards that. He's going towards that place by taking knowledge as a tool. कि वो अपने इंसान जो है वो इंसान के मकाम तक पहुंचने जा रहा है. बगैर इल्म के इंसान अपने मकाम तक नहीं पहुंच सकता. The person cannot reach the place of humanity where they're supposed to reach without knowledge, right? And this thing about the angels having wings, it's, also it's something that we have. हमने अपने ज़हनों के अंदर इसको, in our own imaginations, we've given them wings. Angels can move around in the universe freely, but just because they can move around freely in the universe doesn't mean that they need wings. Okay? Wings is just a symbolic way of their physical appearance, which allows them to go through the universe, left, right, center, here and there. Okay? So not necessarily that you consider that an angel comes, तो उसके पर लगे होंगे ना पीछे परिंदों की तरह पर. It'll be like wings like a bird. Other than wings like birds, you can fly. The planes don't have wings like a bird, but they can fly. Helicopters don't have wings like a bird, they can fly. A power pack that shoots the fuel, the jet fuel and flies, it doesn't have wings, but it flies. When you repel against the magnetic field of the earth, you can fly. The bullet train, it hovers. It's not on the ground, it hovers in the air. It's kind of flying. There's nothing there, there's no wings of any shape and kind. Right? So the angels that are the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have prostrated to that place where a human being can reach. And that place where a human being can reach is in their essence, it's not in their body. Okay? Because as far as the body was concerned, the angels should not have prostrated for us. They should not have prostrated for us, because when it comes to this body, this biological machine, there are many different animals that are much stronger than us. Their senses are much heightened than us. And like for example a rhino. A rhino is an animal that nobody has been able to tame. Right? You look at the skin of a rhino, you look at the strength of a rhino, and then you look at me. Like, if it's just a biological machine, that biological machine of a rhino is better than mine. You look at the lion, you look at the giraffe, you look at the whale in the ocean, you look at all of these different creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if you look at the ant and me, the ant, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is constructed, other than my body, might be more liable for the sajda of the angels than me. The ant can lift, if I can lift like the ant, I'll be able to lift a plane with my hands. The 747, the big planes, I'll be able to lift it up like this. Like how you guys have for Superman? Because the amount of weight that the ant can lift of its body mass, that times of my weight, if I was able to lift as an ant, I could lift an aeroplane. So, now tell me, is the ant more worthy for a sajda or me? This biological machine that cannot even lift twice its weight. Twice its weight, अपना जितना आपका वजन है उससे two times अगर आप lift कर लें तो बड़ी बात होती है. If you can lift twice your weight. But the ant, okay, even if you want to go further, क्योंकि ये आपकी जो हमारी illusions है ना, जो शराब हमने बनाए हुए, मिराज बनाए हुए, शराब बनाए हुए, ये जिस धोखे के अंदर हम रह रहे हैं ना, इस धोखों को हमें ख़त्म करना है. We need to get out of that. The sociologists, they say that the people who study the human sciences and behavior of community and society and how culture is and everything else, everything integrates to each other. Their dream is that if human beings can live like ants, they say, the people who study sociology, they say that we wish that people can live like ants. Because if they lived like ants, this world will filled with justice and peace. The way their structure is, like there are some ants that are there just as soldiers, there are ants that are there as workers, there are ants that are there as construction people, there are ants, and every part of the society is designated and they are only in that boundary. The soldiers do not interfere with the work of the workers, and the workers do not interfere with the work of the soldiers. They're all integrated into the society and they each have a role to play, and they play it for the community. An ant or ants will sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the community. They say if human beings were able to live like ants and the way their social structure is, this world will be filled with justice and peace. Right? Do you know how many ants there are on this earth? 1 quadrillion, 250 trillion ants exist on the face of this earth. कितने? 250 trillion. 250 trillion. How many human beings? About 6-7 billion. There are 250 trillion ants that survive on the face of this earth, and the people who study the human sciences, they say we wish we could live like those ants. Could you imagine what would happen to this world if there was 250 trillion human beings? It would be a chaos. 6 billion, 7 billion human beings, and what they have done to this earth is they plundered its resources and it's taken up all that the earth has to offer. And I don't want to use the words that are coming to my mind, what they have done to the earth. Only 6 or 7 billion of them. And the 6 or 7 billion of them, every hour, if I was to speak to you for an hour, which I don't know if you know this or not, every hour there are 15,300 kids that are born. I think I told you this before. Okay, then tell me how many people die every hour. No. There's approximately 9,600 people that die every hour. Okay, so therefore the 15,000 people come, 15,300, 9,600 people die. So there's always a little bit of an extra that is left, so therefore the population of the earth continues to grow. But if you were to just think about that, and all of the technological developments that we have done, and all the city structures that we have made, the sociologists, when they look at and study the ants, they say if we lived like that, right, your cities would even look massiver than this. Like, I don't even think there's a word massive. Even more massive than this that you have. Right? What are we talking about? An ant. You see how much illusion we have gotten ourselves to? How far we have gotten from reality? The human beings are such, they're saying, Ana Rabbakumul A'la. There are pharaohs of the world that say that I am your greatest Lord. That we can give life and we can take life and we have control over everything. You're not even better than an ant. An ant is better than you. See how we are so confused, and we are, think of ourselves as the center of the universe, while if a mosquito, you are like so, mashallah, a mosquito is very small, you're mashallah, compared to the mosquito, you're like a Mount Everest, right? If you think about it, mosquito is about this big, and you're mashallah, very big. So you're like a Mount Everest. compared to but a mosquito, you want to put your repellent on it, on yourself, you want to put some chemicals, so the mosquito doesn't bite you. A Mount Everest is scared of a mosquito. A Mount Everest can be brought down with a mosquito. A bite of a mosquito can bring you down. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? A person who does not know whether the next moment they are going to stay alive or not, and the maximum they might be able to stay alive is 70 or 80 years. 100 years. What would be the maximum that a person can live on this earth? 100, 150 years? Maximum. Turtles can live up to 350 years. 350 years they can live. Can you imagine? Can you imagine living 300 or 350 years? The turtles can. There's a jellyfish in the ocean that once it gets old, it converts itself back into the embryonic space or shape. When it gets old, it reverses the age and becomes back into the embryonic form and starts off again. Never dies. Just continues for millions of years. So you tell me, if it was that the angels, they prostrated towards us just because of our physical form, then that prostration is not, we cannot understand it. It's not right. That prostration should have been done for the jellyfish or for the turtle or for the mosquito or for the ant or for the other animals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. So why did the closest beings to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prostrated in front of Hazrat Adam alayhi salatu wasalam? They prostrated in front of your potential and the place that you can reach. And if you cannot reach that place, then that person is the worst of the creation. It's lower than ants, it's lower than mosquitoes, it's lower than jellyfish. It's the worst of the creation. And all of the creation curses that person. What I was telling you about the person going and wanting to learn knowledge, the angels, they put their wings. One of the alims, when he used to go out for dars, he didn't used to wear shoes. He would not wear shoes when he would go out for dars. And people used to ask him, he said, but I have heard from the Prophet that when a person goes out of their house to gain knowledge, the angels just spread their wings. I don't want to put my shoes on top of their wings. So he used to go barefoot. It's a matter of conviction, it's a matter of yaqeen. How much do you believe what the Prophet has said? Right? So anyways, when a person goes for knowledge, if there's other traditions as well, they say that all the fish in the ocean, in the water, right, they do istighfar for you, they do dua for you. Can you imagine? The fish are doing dua for you right now. The birds are doing dua for you right now. The place where you are sitting, that earth is praying for you. Right? If your niyat was to come and gain knowledge. If it was not, then no one's praying for you other than your mother. Because it's only mother that can pray for the person, right? Right? So if you think about it, if somebody is going to gain knowledge, the birds, the fish, the earth, the sky, the angels, they are all praying for us. Then the opposite is true too. When a person disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the person goes against His commands, when the person goes towards ignorance, when the person goes away from the potential that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to him or her, lowers himself or herself lower than animals, then the whole universe curses that person. The earth they walk on says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for arrogant people, do you want me to just eat him, like just put him inside and just... The person who walks with arrogance, the earth curses that person. The earth asks permission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to engulf this person. It is only because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this individual time to either repent or increase in its chastisement that the earth does not engulf such individuals. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to give permission, a person walking on the earth as an arrogant being, you will see the earth engulfing that person. The world would be such a beautiful place, nahi? अगर सब अनानियत रखने वाले, अना रखने वाले ज़मीन उनको निगल जाती, तो कितनी प्यारी जगह बनती दुनिया, नहीं? खूबसूरत दुनिया बन जाती ना. मैं अगर आपको हकीकत बताऊं तो आजकल की जिस दुनिया में हम जिंदगी कर रहे हैं ना, कोई इंसान इस दुनिया पे बचता ना. If the earth was to take or engulf everybody that has an ego, this earth would probably have nobody left. That every single person that exists now thinks of themselves as better than something or someone. Because the way that the societies are, they have made it into such a competitive society or status conscious society that if you grow up in the world today, you have to think of yourselves as better than somebody else, or otherwise you cannot survive. Right? It's true or not? If it is untrue, then tell me the problems that our centers face. What is the problem? Why is it that in the radius of 15 miles you can have 9 centers? Why would 2 centers be so close that in between them there is only an empty plot? If a person says, Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alaikum ya Abul Fadl al-Abbas, the other person in the other center can hear their salam. This is how close they are. Why do you think that we have the issues that we have with the leaders of the world? Why do we think we have the issues as far as the general public of the world is concerned? Why do you think we have all of the issues of this world? It's because of the ego of a human being. We think of ourselves to be better than others. This is the worst sin that a person can commit. Arrogance is the worst sin that you can commit. Arrogance is the closest sin to shirk. Allahumma ahlal kibriyai wal azama. You read this dua, right? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the right to say ana. Only He has the right to have kibr. Only He has the right to be in that state that He is better than anyone or anything. And if somebody says that they are better, who are not even better than an ant, they are committing an atrocity that is closest thing to shirk, putting a partner with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the closest thing that they can get. It's the ugliest thing in the world. The people who have the eyes that can see the realities behind these illusions, they cannot even look at their faces because they are so ugly. A person who's arrogant, his soul is so ugly that it scares the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is the most hated crime in front of Allah. Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, I'll narrate you a story of it, and he used to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used to speak to him. But whenever he spoke to Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, it was always through some sort of medium. It was never straight, it was some sort of medium. And so Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, one time, he used to, obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can speak to him and so forth. So he started having this feeling inside. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't talk to anybody. Just not a thought, just a feeling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa alayhi salam that you go and find something or someone that you think you are better than them, and I give you this many days and we're going to meet here, and you bring that something or someone. Okay. So as Musa started looking, he would look at, let's say if he's here, he looked at you, right? In his time he looked at everybody in the city. He's better than me. I'm not better than him. So he kept looking, he could not find anyone. He could not find anyone that he would think that he is better than that person. Who? Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, Kalimullah, the one that talks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A prophet of Allah whose authority goes for all of the world. Ulul Azm, Payghambar. A person who was able to part the ocean with the command of his stick. He just hit it, and the ocean would part. A person who had the miracle of the hand that became so lighted that individuals could not look at him. That individual could not find anyone that he thought he is better than them. So anyways, the time for the meeting was about to come. As your rozas are about to be finished, right? So Hazrat Musa started walking towards that place where he was going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And since, like I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always used to speak to him in medium, so that place was the medium where he was going to speak to him. So he's coming and he sees a dog. And the dog was really frail, and Pakistan में आपने देखी ना जो हम तो उनका बहुत ही बुरा हाल करते हैं ना, तो देखे होंगे जो कुत्ते फिरते हैं यहाँ पे, तो वो मास्टर्स है ना, यहाँ पे तो वो मास्टर्स हैं इंसानों के. यहाँ पे इंसान पेट है और जो कुत्ता है ना वो उसका मास्टर है, उलट है यहाँ. So found a dog that was like really in a bad state, and the ribs are showing, and it's like very, very skinny, and the fur is coming off, and couldn't even walk properly, and it's like ears is broken, and it's like really in a bad shape. So as Musa takes the rope and puts the rope in the neck of that dog and starts taking it towards the place where he was going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So while he's on the way, he stops. He takes that rope out of the neck of that dog and puts it in his neck and comes to that place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya Musa, how come you didn't bring me anything or anyone that you thought you are better than that thing or that being? Hazrat Musa said, Ya Allah, I didn't find anyone. Could he not have brought even just a stone? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? Bring me something or someone that you think you are better than, could he have not brought a stone? Could have. He could have brought any stone. Okay, not Dur Najaf, not Aqiq, not, Firoza, not, okay, these are like higher stones, but like a stone, like a pebble outside. Just a regular pebble, worthless pebble. Could he have not brought that? He could have. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I did not find anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya Musa, if you had brought me that dog that you were bringing, I would have taken your nabuwwat away from you. Because it is not the thing or the being that you think you are better off, it is the thought that is the worst sin that you and I can commit. And if that sin is committed by a prophet and a thought comes and a prophet thinks, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take that prophet's nabuwwat away. What about you and I? What about you and I? What would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take away from us? And how come He has not taken away anything from us although we are arrogant? Why? You think He's not watching us? He's not hearing us? That He has changed His mind about us? No. The only reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not taking everything away from us is because of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is only because the Holy Prophet that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken us differently than the nations before. That He's dealing with us different than even His prophets that He has dealt with before. Hazrat Musa used to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the medium. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Hazrat Musa that, "Oh Musa, I talk to you with the medium, but the nation of the Prophet, when they open their fast, I will speak to them without the medium." The nation of the Prophet. That when this azan happens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can speak to me without a medium. Without any source, without a cell phone. He can speak to me without any hijab. You understand hijab? Without any curtains. Okay? Do we hear that? Do we hear Him? We don't. He says that I will speak to them without any hijab, without any medium. Do we hear Him? No. Why don't we hear Him? That is a place of sadness, that He wants to speak to me without hijab and I'm the one putting hijabs. I'm the one putting the curtains and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to speak to me without the curtains. It's only because of the Prophet of Allah that we are still on the face of this earth. Otherwise the crimes we have committed, the crimes that we Muslims have committed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should have brought His punishment from the heavens and brought onto this earth and made this earth into a cinder. Nothing should have been left. So-called Muslim, can you imagine one drop of the blood of Hazrat Ali Asghar falling on this earth? One drop. For that one drop, for that punishment, should the whole earth not have been annihilated? What then on top, the grandson of the Prophet being in prostration and being his neck being cut with a dull knife? Who are these people? What did they used to call themselves? when Imam Hussein asked him, why are you doing this? He said, I will get gold and silver. I'm doing this for this world. And we who are the lovers of Ahlul Bayt, if Hubb-e-Dunya is also in our own hearts, how different are we? If I also have the love of this world inside of my heart, and because of that love of the world inside of my heart, I sacrifice on my principles of Islam, I am no better than the enemies of Ahlul Bayt. I'm no better. Because the enemies of Ahlul Bayt cut their necks, I am cutting their saved principles' necks. The religion that Imam Hussein saved with his blood, I am cutting the neck of that religion. For what? Because of the love of the world I have inside of me. How different I am. Just because I say I love you, Imam Hussein, does not make me any different. It is my actions that are going to dictate. If I have worked to Imam Hussein and his blood, I should not cut the neck of Islam. You know what is the neck of Iman? You know what is the head of Iman? Imam Ali says the head of Iman is Sabr. If you cut the neck, what is the jism good for? And sabr is not patience how you and I think. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability tomorrow, I'll go through it. We lack sabr. So we need to get out of these illusions. We need to understand that in order for us to be able to get close to Imam Hussein, we have to be different than their enemies. Then none other qualities can be inside of us. None of the qualities, whether it is physical or whether it is spiritual. None of the qualities. And if it is so, we will be successful inshallah on the Day of Judgment. If not, then we should be ready for the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah make the coming of our Imam as soon as possible, and that we are his friends and slaves. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Thank you.